Hello guys, in this PowerPoint presentation you're going to know how to find the midpoint between 2 points on a number line and how to find it between 2 points on a coordinate plane using the midpoint formula. On a number line, if you want to find the midpoint, you can add up the 2 points and divide their sum by 2. On a coordinate plane, each point is represented by two coordinates x and y. So if you want to have the midpoint between 2 points, you need to apply the midpoint formula in a coordinate plane, which is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2 and the y1 plus y2 over 2. Try this example, please. Find the coordinates of M, which is the midpoint of the line segment GH. If G has the coordinates of 8 and -6 and H had the coordinates of -14 and 12. Of course, G, we can represent G by x1, y1 and H by x2, y2. So let's add the coordinates of the x's together and divide it by 2. So x1 plus x2, that means 8 plus -14 over 2. That is equal to -3. And then to know the midpoint as the y coordinate of the midpoint, you need to add y1 plus y2 over 2, which is -6 plus 12 over 2. So you will get 3. So the coordinates of the midpoint is -3 and 3. Let's solve this example and get the midpoint of x and y. So point x has coordinates of -2 and 3, which we will consider it as x1 and y1. Point y had coordinates of -8 and -9, which will we consider it as x2 and y2. Then we will solve and substitute in the formula. To get the midpoint, add x1 to x2 over 2 and then y1 plus y2 over 2 in order to get the coordinates of the midpoint. x1 plus x2, it means -2 plus -8 over 2, which is equal to -10 over 2. That is equal to -5. So the x coordinate for the midpoint is equal to -5. Then as for the y coordinate of the midpoint, it's equal 9y1 plus y2 over 2. y1 is 3, y2 is -9, so add 3 to -9 divided by 2, which is equal to -6 over 2. That is equal to -3. So the y coordinate of the midpoint is -3. So -5 and -3 is the correct answer. Okay, let's solve this example, guys. And this example is quite different because the midpoint or the coordinates of the midpoint are given, but we are missing one of the coordinates. So find the coordinates of D if E, which is the midpoint, has coordinates of -6 and 4, and F had the coordinates of -5 and -3. So we have the missing coordinates of D. So we will consider that D has x1 and y1, the two coordinates that are missing. Then set up our equation. Regarding that, F had the coordinates of x2 and y2, which is -5 and -3. Then, as we have the coordinates of the midpoint, so x1, which is unknown, plus -5, which is x2, over 2 is equal to -6, which is the x-coordinate of the midpoint. That is our first equation regarding the x-coordinates. Then, about the second equation, we have y1, which is unknown, plus y2, which is -3, over 2 is equal to the y-coordinate of the midpoint, which is 4. So now we have two equations. Let's see how are we going to solve these two equations in order to get the two coordinates of the point that are missing. Solving the two equations, x1 plus -5 over 2 equal -6. Then we will move the 6 to the other, we will move the 2 to the other side of the equation by multiplication. So -6 times 2 is equal to -12 equal x1 minus 5. Then solving for x, -12 plus 5 equal x. -12 plus 5 equal -7. So the coordinate of point D, the x coordinates for point D is -7. Let's solve for the y coordinate. y1 plus -3 over 2 equal 4. That is our equation for the y coordinate. Let's solve for y and get rid of the 2. So multiply 4 by 2 and then it is equal to 8, which is equal to y1 minus 3. Then move 3 to the other side of the equation by the positive sign. So 8 plus 3 equal y1. So now we have y1 is equal to 11, and that is the y coordinate of point D, the missing point. So the two coordinates of point D is -7 and 11. Let's solve another example where one point is only given and the midpoint and the coordinates of the other point is missing. How are we going to solve that? Let's substitute in the equation. Before substituting in the equation, we need to know that the point S has the coordinate of, let's represent it by x2, y2. And as for the point R, the beginning of the line, the two coordinates are missing, which is x1 and y1. Remember that the coordinates of the midpoint N is given as 8 and -3. So let's set two equations. The first equation to get the x coordinate of the midpoint. So x1 plus x2, which is -1 over 2. That is equal to the x coordinate of the midpoint, which is equal to 8. The second equation, y1 plus 5, which is y2 over 2, equal -3, which is the y coordinate of the midpoint. Then it's time to solve for x1 and y1. In the first equation, x1 minus 1 equal 8 times 2. So x1 minus 1 equals 16. Then x equals 16 plus 1. So x1 equals 17. Now we solved for the x coordinate of the missing point. Then solving for y. We need to find y1. So solve for this equation. y1 plus 5, which is the y coordinate of S, the y2 over 2 equal -3. -3 is the y coordinate of the midpoint. Then y1 plus 5 equal negative 3 times 2. So y1 equal negative 6. So y1 equal negative 6, negative 5. So y1 equal negative 11. So the correct coordinates of the point is 17 and negative 11.